So you're working?
Yeah, at a strip club. It's managerial stuff.
Got some party leftovers. If you want to have some fun.
4 years. That's how long it's been since Euphoria last aired a new episode. 4 years of delays, rewrites, cast explosions, tragic deaths, and the kind of behind-the-scenes chaos that makes the actual show look tame by comparison. And now? Now we have a trailer that shattered every record HBO has ever set. 157 million views in 48 hours. The most watched promo for any returning series in the history of the platform. But here's the part nobody's talking about enough. The show you're about to watch on April 12th is not the show you remember. The high school hallways are gone. The neon house parties are gone. The characters you left as teenagers are now adults navigating cartel violence, adult content creation, sugar dating, and the kind of consequences that don't come with a guidance counselor. Euphoria jumped 5 years into the future, and the landing is going to hurt. The marketing rollout started in mid-January 2026 with a teaser that pulled nearly 100 million views in its first 2 days. Then on March 30th, HBO dropped the full trailer, nearly 3 minutes of footage that made the internet collectively lose its mind. 157 million views in 48 hours. And visually? This is a completely different show. The signature purple and blue neon lighting is gone. In its place is a gritty, cinematic look shot on a mixture of 35mm and 65mm Kodak film stock. Euphoria is now the first narrative television series to use that volume of large-format 65mm film. This doesn't look like a TV show anymore. It looks like a Denis Villeneuve movie. The trailer opens hard. Rue Bennett is being interrogated by DEA agents about her activities south of the border. We see her swallowing concealed contraband as federal agents close in. And then we meet a brand new character, a cartel kingpin named Alamo, played by Adewale Akinwoye Agbaje. Rue is no longer just a recovering addict. She's actively working as a drug mule, trying to pay off the massive debt she racked up with Lori back in Season 2. Then the trailer shifts to Cassie Howard and Nate Jacobs. They're married, living in the suburbs. Cassie is working as an adult content creator. Later frames show Nate bloodied on the floor in a wedding suit, begging for mercy. The rest of the ensemble gets rapid-fire updates. Maddie in Los Angeles working at a talent agency, Lexi as an assistant to a powerful TV showrunner played by Sharon Stone, Jules in New York struggling as an art student and earning money as a sugar baby. And then Eric Dane appears as Cal Jacobs in a dimly lit bar. Jules approaches him and asks if he remembers her. It's tense, it's loaded, and it's one of Dane's final performances before his death. Coleman Domingo returns as Ali to deliver what feels like the thematic thesis of the season. He says that he used to believe empathy could fix the world, but the real disease is that people no longer know the difference between right and wrong. Now, the fan reaction to this trailer was explosive and deeply split. A huge chunk of the audience was thrilled by the cinematic quality and the return of characters they've been waiting 4 years to see. But an equally vocal contingent was furious. The most common criticism is that Euphoria has abandoned its emotional core, that a show built on the nuanced exploration of teenage mental health has turned into what one viral Reddit post called a side quest with higher stakes and zero subtlety. The heaviest backlash landed on Cassie's storyline. But none of that backlash hurt the numbers. If anything, the controversy poured gasoline on the engagement. Euphoria has been the single most discussed show on the internet for 3 straight months. So why did Euphoria skip 5 years? 2 reasons. One practical, one creative. The practical reason is simple. The show was off the air for 4 years. The cast members are now approaching or already in their late 20s and early 30s. Sam Levinson was blunt. They couldn't go back to high school. The creative reason goes deeper. 5 years puts these characters right at the edge of real adult independence. Zendaya herself said there's only so much high school drama you can deal with. And what excited her was exploring how everything that happened when these characters were kids affects the adults they become. Rue Bennett is in Mexico, deep in the criminal underworld, running drugs across the border to settle her debt with Lori. She's dodging DEA agents, entangled with a cartel boss, and narrating the season with the kind of weary wisdom that only comes from someone who's been through hell. Cassie is living a bleak suburban existence married to Nate, drowning in social media addiction and jealousy over her former classmates' successes. Nate is working construction, volatile as ever. Maddie is in LA, working at a talent agency and running side hustles. Jules moved to New York for art school, supplementing her income as a sugar baby. Lexi parlayed her infamous high school play into a real career, working as an assistant to Sharon Stone's character, reportedly inspired by legendary studio executive Sherry Lansing. And Cal Jacobs is out of prison, haunting the edges of the story. Here's where the story behind the show gets almost as dramatic as the show itself. Euphoria. Season 2 ended in February 2022. HBO renewed it immediately, and then everything fell apart. First, Levinson got distracted developing The Idol, the HBO music industry drama that became a critical disaster and severely damaged his reputation. Then the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes shut down the entire industry in 2023, and then came the losses. On July 31st, 2023, Angus Cloud died. He was 25, an accidental overdose. The guy who brought Fezco to life was gone. His death forced Levinson to completely reconceptualize the narrative without one of its central pillars. Zendaya called him a brother. Sydney Sweeney wrote that it was the hardest thing she'd ever had to post. Then in February 2026, just weeks before the Season 3 premiere, Eric Dane died at 53. ALS. He'd been diagnosed in April 2025, but kept working. He finished all of his filming before his health declined. His appearance as Cal Jacobs will be a posthumous performance. Even after the strikes ended, the show faced its biggest internal crisis. A total creative breakdown between Levinson, Zendaya, and HBO executives. Levinson's first drafts were rejected almost immediately. His original pitch had Rue working as a private detective, a bizarre direction that sidelined Zendaya's character to the background of her own show. Zendaya used her leverage as executive producer to fight back. She counterpitched a storyline where a sober Rue acts as a pregnancy surrogate. HBO vetoed that too. There were at least 4 major page 1 rewrites. At one point, HBO executives reportedly explored 2 nuclear options: firing Levinson entirely or canceling the episodic season and wrapping Euphoria with a single feature film. Eventually, a compromise was reached. Rue goes to Mexico as a drug mule. Principal photography finally started in February 2025, 3 years after the show was renewed. Barbie Ferreira, fan favorite Kat Hernandez, announced in August 2022 that she was done with the show. On the Armchair Expert podcast, she said she didn't think there was a place for Kat to go that would do the character justice. Then, just weeks before the premiere, Labyrinth quit. The composer, whose ethereal scores defined Euphoria's entire sonic identity, went scorched earth on social media. The suspected reason? Levinson brought in Hans Zimmer to co-score the season. Part of the reason this season took so long is that the cast became too famous to afford. Zendaya did Dune Part 2, Challengers, and Spider-Man 4. Sydney Sweeney did Anyone But You and The Housemaid. Jacob Elordi did Saltburn and Priscilla. Scheduling around 3 A-listers with blockbuster commitments was a logistical nightmare. HBO went all in on the guest cast. Sharon Stone as Lexi's boss, Adewale Akinwoye Agbaje as the cartel kingpin Alamo, Natasha Lyonne, Danielle Deadweiler, filmmaker Eli Roth, former NFL running back Marshawn Lynch, and global pop star Rosalia in an undisclosed role. This isn't a show trying to coast on nostalgia. This is HBO swinging for the fences with a cast list that reads like a film festival lineup. Zendaya secured $1 million per episode. Sydney Sweeney landed $800,000. Jacob Elordi got $700,000. The total production budget ballooned to roughly $200 million across 8 episodes, and it's the single biggest reason industry analysts believe this is the final season. HBO is premiering Season 3 at Coachella. At 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, April 12th, festival goers will watch the premiere under the desert stars, timed to coincide exactly with the digital drop on Max. It's the first time HBO has ever screened a series premiere at a music festival. Viewership projections are staggering. Analysts predict Season 3 could pull between 90 and 120 million cross-platform views, numbers that would potentially outpace House of the Dragon. Nobody at HBO will say it outright, but everything points to Season 3 being the end. When asked about a fourth season, HBO chief Cassie Bloys dodged completely. The cast salaries are unsustainable. Levinson's creative process nearly imploded multiple times. 2 beloved cast members have died. The characters have aged out of the world that made the show iconic. Euphoria was never supposed to last forever. It was supposed to burn bright, burn fast, and leave a mark. Euphoria started in 2019 as a neon-drenched fever dream about teenagers who were too smart, too broken, and too beautiful to survive the world they'd been handed. It became the most talked-about show of its generation. It launched careers that now headline $200 million movies. It lost people along the way who can never be replaced. And on April 12th, it comes back one more time, older, darker, angrier, with a $200 million budget, a cast that barely survived the journey to get here, and a creator who rewrote the entire thing 4 times before anyone would let him shoot it. Rue said it best in the trailer. For the first time, she was beginning to have faith. Let's see if the rest of us can say the same. Drop a comment and tell me, are you excited for the time jump, or do you think Euphoria lost its identity? Hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed, and click the next video on your screen now for another interesting story.